you need to build your business so you will be able to take a vacation
Yeah.
basically whenever you want. If
Yes.
you're not, if the business is not dependent of you on you, if you're not like if you don't have to be in the equation all the time, then you can afford. But isn't that like step two, the vacation? Sorry if
Okay.
I'm,
No, it's
yeah,
great. Yeah, you're doing the right thing.
thank you.
So in burnout, yeah, taking time away is mission critical.
Hmm.
Honestly, I would have you take months away, but you're not going to want to come back to the way it is now. So,
Right.
so the triage is taking those micro moments every single day, taking a full day. You will almost never see me do work on Saturday or Sunday. It's
Hmm.
super rare because
Hmm.
I'm like militant about Saturday and
Hmm.
Sunday are fun days.
Hmm.
Period. You don't get me on those days. And same with not working past 6 p.m. I do it sometimes because, yes, I do work with American companies.
Hmm.
But if I do that, then I block my morning. So I goof off in the morning, right? So I recognize how much I've got in a day energetically, and then, right? So that's what we do is triage in the meantime. If you're going to take a vacation, so to kind of, I'm going to do 2 steps forward and then come back.
Sure.
If you're going to take a vacation, somebody has to know how to work the company without you. In order to do that, then to come back to the middle point, you have to have good systems, and not just good systems, but well documented systems. So that if you're on vacation and something goes wrong, they know what to do because all they have to do is look in the docs rather than call you. So it's not a matter of just getting the systems going so that everything's working right, and then we've automated so that you're doing less in the first place, and then we've systemized so you don't have to think as hard and you can hand things off easier, you can start to delegate better. Systemizing does a whole lot of great stuff for your company. But if it's not documented, you still can't take a vacation, because if something does break, they're going to call you. You're the go-to guy. And so that's what we would be working on, to get all those systems really, really hammered out and well documented. And as we do that, your time starts to fall off. We automate so that your time falls off. And then we start to systemize. Your time falls off. You start to delegate. Your time falls off. Now go take a vacation because you're already only working 10 hours a week. They don't need
Right.
you. Yeah.
And even
So I
if you
told
don't,
you
so you
actually,
do that systemizing as if you are going to go away on a long extended vacation while your business is working. And that way,
yes.
even when you're there, you're not that stressed because you know, hey, I'm choosing to be here right now. I can also not be here, and that reduces
Yes.
your stress.
Yeah. Because then
Yeah,
you
got
aren't afraid to come back from vacation.
it.
I
Got you.
told you that, while I was on that 3 week backpacking trip, I actually got a resignation from one of my writers.
Hmm.
So they did have to call me. And they called me and I said, okay, we've got to triage this. Here's the document. I called in somebody who was a pinch hitter content writer for that. And I said, here's the client, here's the documentation, here's how we do it. Go do it. The deadlines were already set. Everything was already easy. Boom. It took me an hour to fix the problem because it was already set and ready to go for anybody. So that's the thing. Like, your documents need to be ready for somebody who's never touched your business, not for the people who've already been trained.
Why does it feel like more and more founders and business owners, every age, stage, gender, are experiencing some sort of burnout? Is it because more awareness drives more diagnosis, or is it something else?
Yeah, I would say it's something else. I do agree that more awareness does equal more diagnosis. That's definitely playing a factor. But here's the problem with the human psyche. If you don't understand it, humans like to replicate what they know. It's very, very difficult for a human being to think outside of their lived experience. So you say, I'm going to become an entrepreneur. I want a better life. I want more freedom. I am choosing for my mental health, for my well-being, for my family, because of an idea. There's always all these different reasons that one becomes an entrepreneur. And they think they're going to do it differently. And, you and I talked a little bit about my expertise in paradigm shifts. You're literally implementing a paradigm shift. But if you're not an expert in paradigm shifts, you don't realize that. You don't know that you actually have to do everything as different as possible. And so then you get shoved into the 9 to 5 because that's what you're supposed to do. And you're supposed to do, right? And there's not this conscious choosing because all of a sudden you're in overwhelm. And so you're choosing what you've always known, which is what the company was forcing you to do and leading you into burnout. So it's not a matter of like it being an individual's fault. It's just that you didn't know that you had to think way outside the box when you were starting your business.
Right. If you're enjoying this kind of conversation, hit the subscribe button. It helps the channel grow, and make sure you don't miss content like this in the future. Let's get into another episode of The Tipping Point of Success. So a lot of people think burnout happens only on the way up and say, I'll recover when I get this or this goal. But you know plenty of burnout CEOs making $5 and $10 million a year. They get burned out. So what does that mean for us?
I mean, first of all, I want you to think about this like laziness myth. So like the laziness myth is very pervasive, especially in the United States in particular, which is like where Silicon Valley is. And so we're all like looking down this barrel of like, this is what it's supposed to look like, and this is how it's supposed to be. So like having a 4-hour work week makes somebody feel guilty instead of successful, right? Because success is supposed to be busy. I'm very busy and important, right? That phrase. So yeah, you might be doing 10, 15, 20 mil a year in sales with your company. What happens is you have all of that mythology forcing you to stay very, very in the company. And as a result, it exposes you to more and more work. So one would think like, oh, if I have, 20 million a year coming into my company, I'm probably sipping Mai Tais on the beach. And, I just get like the pager call every so often. I have a board meeting. That's it. But you have to engineer that. And if you have a busyness myth, then you're going to stay in the company and then try to do all of that work at 20 million that you were doing at 5 million or even only at 100,000. And so I was telling you about one of my clients that was doing 5 mil and he couldn't get himself out of the company. So he was burning out because everyone was coming to him for his advice because he was so used to being in the trenches that he built a company with him in the trenches. So the company is doing this enormous billing every year, but his workload has expanded rather than contracted. You have to change your paradigm if you're going to grow.
And we're going to talk about that extensively. Let's go back to the basics. Okay. What is burnout?
Yeah, so burnout is a psychological and physiological, what a lot of people miss, a physiological state. So, take this fight, flight, freeze, appease. We've all heard of it. We're all pretty aware that, oh, scary, something's after me. So your body has a physiological, so first psychological and then physiological response to stress. Okay, today, emails pinging, the phone's ringing, my daughter's crying, I gotta go and pick up a prescription, and my company needs me. And if my company doesn't get me, I feel like I'm going to be a failure and I'm not going to have any money, which sends me into an existential crisis. Literally a physical, my well-being is suddenly at risk. And so every single day we're living at this kind of heightened point of stress. And burnout happens when the body says, I literally can't take this anymore. Stop. And everything starts to shut down. So your body will start to exhibit earlier symptoms like difficulty sleeping or not waking up feeling rested. You might start developing weird allergies. You might feel like you're just not laughing when things used to be funny. Like you're starting to have these like little examples, but eventually the body just like basically clotheslines you and says just halt completely. And that's the full burnout. It's like the system cannot take anymore, and it has tried to warn you in ways that you've been ignoring. So screw your ambition, stop everything. And then we don't want people in that state because it takes a long time to recover from it. So
please share, how did you get into this field of overcoming founders burnout and why?
Yeah, I mean, I burned out. I got into it because I burned out. So I started coaching CEOs who were burning out because I felt very alone. I mean, I sold the company in 2018. So like burnout was like sort of a topic, but it wasn't that well talked about. And of course, this was like pre-TikTok, pre-Reels, like, like YouTube was there, but the way information flowed was different at that point. So I didn't even have the words to really explain what was happening and why it was happening to me. But I knew that the systems I had built within my company, like I do want to say, before I sold the company, I got myself down to 10 hours a week. So I still burned out because by then I was done. But I did do it because I noticed, as you said, like I needed to change my paradigm. I wasn't okay.
When did you start recognizing it?
Yeah, I think I started recognizing it like a year before I actually sold the company. And so I gave myself that 6 months of runway of like, can I make a change? And I worked with a mentor who introduced me to the concept of scaling, but through the lens of SME, because I had an SME. I didn't have a startup. So if you have a small business, you're not told to scale and you're not taught to scale, and scaling looks different. Like when you have a startup, scaling is all about 10x growth. It's all marketing.
Right.
But scaling for a small business is internal. It's all ops. And so that's what I started to work towards myself, and eventually did get myself to 10 hours a week and backpacked Europe for 3 weeks.
Nice.
And the company didn't die while I was, so like I was successful, but I was also done. And that's the other thing is like, if you wait too long in burnout, it doesn't matter if you fix the burnout, you just have such a bad taste in your mouth for what caused it that you reject it.
That's very important to know and to remember. So what was going through your head at that time that you felt burnout? What were you saying to yourself?
Fuck this. What did I do? Why is this so horrible? Like, what's wrong with me? A lot of what's wrong with me. Like, why am I unable to like hack it? Why can't I keep up? Why can't I act like what I see, right? Like what I perceive my competitors or my colleagues or like my partners, they seem to be capable. Why am I not capable? And so it turns into this self-loathing cycle that's really awful.
So when you recognized it, you chose to sell the company, like of course upgrade it and then sell it.
Yeah.
But I think I saw in your website, I'm almost sure, about the founder's dilemma when experiencing burnout symptoms. If it's burning you out, why don't you quit? Why not quit? But is that the only option?
Yeah. And I don't think it is, but I think you got to notice it. That's why I'm really thankful you're asking these questions, because you got to notice long before you're really, really burned out. Because if you're so burnt out that you can't even scrape together a few months to find a buyer or to create the systems, et cetera, to like pivot the company, you're just going to throw it all away. And all that hard work. I mean, I had 5 years in. I exited five and a half years into the company. It's such a shame. I mean, I don't want to say it's like really a waste, because I don't believe in wastes.
Sure.
On paper, like you still learned something, you still tried something, but
and someone else took it and it's continuing the mission, right?
But I mean, like if you do throw it away, like if you do just quit,
yeah.
I hate to say
it happened
waste
to me actually.
Yeah.
Now that you were saying what you were saying, I realized that that's what happens. I just quit it because I couldn't even do what you did, like let's try to build the systems and sell it. I was like, just let me go.
And if it wasn't for that mentor, I wouldn't have known what to do. I wouldn't have known what to try. I just would have quit. And even then I didn't have the language. I didn't have the language around burnout. I didn't know how to say what I was experiencing. I was just exhausted and hating it. And I'm so lucky. He gave me the book Built to Sell. It's a tiny little book. Everyone listening to this, just read that book. Like, don't listen to the big talking heads. Just like go read this book to understand you need to get your butt out of the way of the company, period. And so I read that book in a terrible state. And that's the only reason I had a sense of what to do, to see, can I make this work? I made it work, still didn't want it. I exited.
Yeah, and I had a couple of guests here talking about, getting your business ready to sell, not just not just because you want to sell it, because it's just you do the right things for your business. A lot of
Yeah.
times people are preparing their business for sale, and then they're saying, "Oh, but the way it's run now, I can just go ahead and keep running it." Uh,
Yeah, I know.
so that read is so important, and we're going to link it, and of course, we're going to show it with the author's name and everything. If you're ready to take your business to the next level, don't miss out on my free burnout-free business guide. It's a simple 7-day plan to help you reset your relationship with your business, improve your mindset, and achieve more while staying balanced. You can download it right now by using the link in the description. Veronica, so what is unique about your approach to solving this problem, and what makes it especially effective?
I'm an anthropologist who studies paradigm shifts. I think I'm the only one. So when I'm looking at burnout for the founder, I'm not just looking at what the founder is experiencing and what the company is structured like, but you also have to shift the culture in the company. So if you have employees, contractors, freelancers, anybody, they are interacting with your company. And if you don't also implement a paradigm shift for them, first of all, what kind of leader do you want to be? Do you want to be the leader that burns your team out as well? Because if you're burning out, you're going to burn out your team. Second of all, they will reinforce the old system on you if you do not implement a paradigm shift for the entire company. And so that's what I'm able to bring, is not just, okay, we know the psychosocial symptoms of burnout and how to fix them. There are plenty of people out there as well. So like that's a good therapist kind of thing. There's plenty of coaches and consultants who understand how to scale ops.
Mhm.
I understand how to bring both of those together and implement a paradigm shift for the culture within your company and for yourself personally, because I study paradigm shifts.
Can you give me an example so I will understand paradigm shift better?
So a paradigm, let's just start there. So a paradigm is the conscious or subconscious system by which you live and assume the world, how you assume the world works. Okay.
Hmm.
So you go about your day very differently than me. I'm confident of it. You understand the world very differently than me because you come from a different country than I do.
Hmm.
And you've immigrated to a different country. We relate
Right.
very well together on both being immigrants, right? Both being business owners, both having ADHD. We both speak English, but we also have other languages we speak. We're multilingual, but we don't relate on all languages, right? We have this overlap, and that's what we are relating on. But your lived paradigm is different than mine because of my lived experience, as well as the assumptions that I make about the world based on the information that I have. And so that's what I would define as a paradigm. How you assume the world works, how you live within the world.
And
Go ahead.
when do I know that this paradigm is creating a problem and causing burnout, and I need to shift it?
It's really difficult, if you're not a trained social scientist, to notice these things. And so that's why we talk about symptoms instead of anything else. Like I can start throwing jargon at you, but the symptoms are what matters, and you have to pay attention to those. Those are the indicators. Just like you would know, like, okay, you keep getting acid reflux, for example. The problem isn't actually acid reflux. The problem might be that you have, heaven forbid, a stomach tumor, or your stomach valve isn't closing well enough, and so you need to get some physical therapy for that. There's all these other things that are causing the symptom. So I can get in there with you, but really what you need is just to know the symptoms, so then you ask for help from a doctor.
Yeah. So I really understood, from your explanation, the differences between our two paradigms. I'm trying to understand when do I know that I have a problem with my paradigm? I mean, like you said, look at the
When it's
symptoms,
causing,
but
yeah, when it's causing
so
you problems.
yeah, so you're saying like if I feel symptoms of burnout that we talked about before, that means there's a problem with my
There's a problem with
paradigm.
your paradigm. Yeah,
which
exactly.
which which can be like what, for example?
Well, so let's take it out of business for a second. A
Sure.
really good example that's easy to see is your best friend keeps dating some shitty type of person, right? You see them do it every time. And every time they break up, they say, I'm never dating someone like that again. That was awful. And then what do? They date the same person, just in a different body, right? They keep choosing these people, and you're sitting there as the best friend going, I'm going to wring this person's neck. Why won't they get it? Why don't they see what they're doing? That's their paradigm. So the symptom is this is causing me problems.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why so many people live that same cycle for their entire
Yeah.
lives, because it's
Yeah.
very difficult to notice that your paradigm is the problem and that you need to make a change. It's very hard and a very humble process, to be honest, to change your personal paradigm. It takes a lot of self-awareness, which is why, yes, I have guides and courses for it.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of self-awareness and a lot of humility.
So basically, what you're saying is, for every problem that I re-experience in my life, there's a paradigm shift. There's a specific paradigm shift that will be my solution for that.
Yeah.
That will be the end. That will mean the end of that problem for me.
Yeah.
That's very
Yes.
reassuring to know.
It's reassuring, and yeah, but it also means you can get into a state of hypervigilance that way too. So I would caution people to not constantly be trying to work on themselves, because every time you go through a paradigm shift, just as you know, so like a big one for us was immigrating, right? So like being an immigrant is exciting. It's also stressful. It is a paradigm
Yeah.
shift. It does cause
Yeah.
stress. So shifting a
Oh man.
paradigm shouldn't happen all the time. It should happen when the paradigm is causing more problems than shifting would cause. So the shift is going to be a temporary stress as you pivot, but just like you don't want to pivot the company all the time, right? If you pivot your company all the time, you never get traction, you never have like a sense of just rhythm anymore. It feels like chaos all the time. So you don't want chaos all the time in your personal life. You don't want to shift the paradigm all the time. But when it is causing so many problems, that it is better to shift than to stay.
Wow. You're touching upon such a sensitive point with me, and I'm just realizing it, that the way I'm wired paradigm is like I'm trying to solve everything at once. Like I can't stand to face the fact that something needs to be solved and I'm not doing something about it. And even if it's not just one thing at once, like the relocation thing, but
Yeah.
also my anxiety issue, the bottleneck I have in my marketing funnel, why
Yeah.
the videos are not performing, like the way that I want. So I'm just trying to solve everything at once. And what you're saying to me is just solve one thing at a time.
Yeah.
Is that a
Yeah. Or at
habit I
least
should start?
solve what you have the capacity to. Because again, if you're constantly solving everything, you're going to end up in
Yeah.
burnout as well, because you've piled a whole different level of stress onto yourself. Absolutely. One thing at a time, or only a couple of things. Everyone knows how many things that they can handle at a time. I had to learn that the hard way. You have enough evidence in your life already to know how much you can handle at once
I
and
guess I
feel
don't,
like
because I haven't learned so far to
you
do it
have enough
well.
evidence.
Yeah,
You
but
just
now
haven't
that I
looked
have
for the
more
evidence.
awareness to that, I can start
Yes.
measuring that actually.
Yes. Exactly.
Veronica, this is very helpful.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I'm happy. I'm happy. This is fun for me.
Yeah. So for me too. So what are the main causes in your experience of founders burnout?
Yeah, the first being, of course, just replicating the corporate structure. Like you can see my face, like, ugh.
Like corporate structure. I'm trying to do that. I'm like, ugh. All right.
Corporate
Ugh.
structure, gross, like meetings upon meetings that are often kind of useless. And then just busy work, like how, we have this idea of like, ugh, but we unfortunately replicate that work because we think it's somehow needed. Others, like, why would they be doing it, right?
So as
Additionally,
founders, we have that model of the organization, and we
this
strive
is what it
to
looks like.
be that, because this is what success looks like.
Right. That's what a business looks like. And
Mm-hmm.
then if you if you are doing business well, which is typically if you're doing marketing well, let's be honest, um, then the more work comes in. And so this is why I was specializing in scaling ops as far as like burnout recovery, because as more work comes in the door as a founder, you're replicating what you knew as an employee, not what the CEO does. If you've never been a CEO before, you don't know how to be a CEO. You've got to read a million books, you got to listen to podcasts. And there's a lot of BS out there. Like, look out for the BS advice. But so all this work starts coming in, and you're used to being the one doing it because you started as a freelancer, you started with a small team, or whatever, whatever you were doing. You were the tech guy creating the SaaS offering. Now more work's coming in, more offers are coming in, more business development is happening, and you're still the one doing it, even though you're not supposed to. So a lot of people just don't know how to scale themselves out of the way. And that's what I said. Like, when we have this laziness myth, it's a tongue twister, get ready.
Laziness myth.
So if I tell you I'm going to get you down to 10 hours a week in your business, you're going to freak out because that is illegal in the definition of success we have. And so then they stay in, and then they stay burned out.
Is there another main cause of burnout except that myth?
Within, as far as founders go,
Yeah, that
not
is
really. In
that
my
is the big
opinion,
kahuna.
I think that's a big kahuna, because if you've done your work right, you should not be in all of those meetings. You should, like, honest to God, you should be having maybe two meetings a week and letting your team do the rest.
I'm so glad I brought you in, Veronica. I just need to get it out right here, right now. I'm so
Thanks.
glad. This is great. This is
Thank
great.
you.
Oh, hey, you're here. Listen, if you're liking this video, please hit the thumbs up. It helps the channel more than you know. Enjoy watching the rest of the video. Yeah. Let's talk about the silent burnout effect. So on the outside, it looks like it's working, but inside, I'm falling apart. So how can I
Yeah.
identify the fact that I'm on the verge of burnout? What are the main symptoms entrepreneurs feel but don't call burnout?
So remember when you started this podcast, you started your business, for listeners, like that first day? I remember my first day as an entrepreneur. I sat on my porch. I had started a web development company. I sat on my porch and I was like, I get to draw for a living. So I was sketching a website out. I get to draw for a living. Oh my God. Excitement, joy. It felt good. You feel embodied because suddenly you're doing something that's really 100% within your wheelhouse and within your
Yeah.
control. Like, every
Yeah.
decision you've made because it was something that you wanted. And then if you compare, to now, right? There's a difference between, like when we have kids, right? Yeah, there's hard days. When we're married, yeah, there's hard days. But you don't leave your spouse, you don't abandon your children. Right? Like, the divorce happens when something's really, really, really effed up, right?
Yeah.
So business isn't going to be all like rainbows and butterflies, obviously. But if none of it is bringing you joy, like if it feels like every single day you wake up and you go, I don't care. Numbness is a really huge indicator. Feeling like it's heavy, like it's a slog, like you hate your employees. Oh my God.
What
All
about
of
if
that.
some days I wake up and I really want to go. Some days I wake up and I just don't want to get out of bed.
Right. Well, and so, like, if you have both, right, you're human. Third,
Mm.
like, we have to talk about, like, there's
Thank you so much.
discipline, right? Like, there is a difference between discipline and capacity, right? So, like,
Yeah.
discipline is literally just like, you can do it, you should do it, you need to do it. Like, yeah, I know you don't feel like it, but capacity is like, literally, I physically, emotionally, in my nervous system cannot do this anymore. I cannot add anything more. If you think that you could not take a vacation and not have your business fail,
Mhm.
you're in trouble. You've got to be
Mhm.
able to take time off.
Before you mentioned more signs like allergies.
Mm-hmm.
Can you repeat that? And maybe give us the whole bucket list.
Yeah, the bucket list is long and very individualized. So I'm not going to give the entire thing because I think it would be like as long as, like,
Of course,
um,
the aim is to help the entrepreneurs identify if
yeah,
they are on the verge of burnout because, we keep saying, okay, it's okay. It's just another day. It's just another one of those days. I can go on, I can go on, I can go on. And I don't want to
right.
admit it and I don't want to feel like a failure. And no, I'm not burning out. That's I'm not like that sensitive or vulnerable or whatever. I'm the guy. I'm the CEO. Come on.
Truth
But
is like,
but sometimes you just need to someone or something to reflect the fact that hey, if this happens, you
mhm,
need to stop. So please, doctor, tell us
yeah. And
what
I
do we
just
need to
want to
see to recognize?
like insert right in here
Sure.
that like
Yeah.
men and women are both human animals. Your nervous system is working on the same emotional level, whether or not you've been socialized to recognize it. So a lot of times guys won't realize that they're burning out because
Mm,
they're not tapped into what's happening in their bodies and in their emotions.
mm,
So
so
like,
true.
so yeah, allergies, if you're having a lot of like bowel issues, the bowel is so sensitive to stress. Same with weight gain, same with feeling like you again, like you can't rest. You can't rest and digest. Those two go together. So like if you can't get into your parasympathetic nervous system to chill out, or you feel
Mm,
like I'm at the movies with my spouse and I can't pay attention to the movie because I have to be constantly thinking about X, Y, or Z, or I'm constantly checking my phone. This like heightened vigilance, right? It's not because like, oh, there's a deal about to go through and I'm really excited about it. And then once the deal goes through, you can let go. This is this constant heightened vigilance of looking for the lion, right? Like the radar is constantly up now because something's about to attack, even though it's not, it's just a business. But those are really, really great indicators to look for: hypervigilance, digestive issues, allergies, an ability to feel like you can rest, an ability to take time away, even if it's just a spa day, which, here in Germany, the spas are very, very well attended. And if you feel like
and
you
you go
can't just,
naked.
yeah, exactly. And so you cannot have your phone with you. Like you literally have to be fully cut off from the
Yeah.
world. And if you feel like you
Yeah.
can't do that for even 2 hours, which is like the
Right.
minimum, then yeah, you're probably starting to notice that. Also talk to your friends and family. They will tell you like the light's gone off. You don't come to see us anymore. You don't have time for us. I mean, these are if you're
You don't
getting those
smile.
types of comments, yeah, you really got to be thinking about what you're doing and start making lifestyle changes immediately because you don't want to get to the point where you're literally throttled by your body because then you don't have the room to make the changes in the company, and that is where everything falls off a cliff.
So that's my next question. Like, what's the highest or the biggest price that you've seen founders pay for not attending to those symptoms or trying to
Mm-hmm.
ignore the fact that they have burnout?
Yeah. I mean, I basically forced myself out of my first company because of burnout. So I sold my company. I managed to scrape by 6 more months to find a buyer. And so thank God, like I'm very proud of that. I'm incredibly proud of having found another woman in tech to take over the business that I developed. And I'm glad that, I didn't drop my clients and leave them flailing for a new service provider. I'm really thankful that I didn't drop my team because they were and are amazing. It's been a decade and several of them are still working for the company. So that's good. But like I left the company because I was burnt out. So like any opportunity for myself dissolved. The worst case is that you can't dig out of you 6 months to find a buyer and work with a broker and
Mhm.
you just let everything go. And so I know a woman who did that. I had a really hard time understanding why she did that at the time. And now I understand because it's like you put all this work in, your business is your baby, and then you are so burnt out that you can't work another day, not even to find a buyer for your company or at least your client list. That to me is enormously tragic. Not just okay, it's bad for your clients, bad for your team, etc., but you put work in and your labor deserves to be compensated even at the 12th hour.
Yeah.
And so that to me is the tragedy. Not to mention the brilliance that we lose. Like, think about so many social impact entrepreneurs who feel compelled to work very hard because they're working in an emergency already. Like these people who, and I'm one of them, right? Like, so like I have a women's health tech startup and my hair's on fire every day because women's health is like so underserved. So the cause makes you move against your better instincts as well. And now imagine if I burn out of that, and the whole possibility of maybe like fixing something or making something better for someone is gone. That's tragic to me.
Absolutely. I don't want to get to the solution just yet, but I do want to start in scraping that surface a little
Okay.
bit. So you say if you're burning out or stuck in growth, your problem isn't your strategy, it's your paradigm. Maybe I paraphrase that. You need a paradigm shift. So in your opinion, what do the best strategists, the Alex Hormozis, the Daniel Priestleys, those guys, which are great guys and I love them, well, what do they miss when it comes to creating sustainable external success?
Yeah, I see a lot of the hustle culture coming in, right? Like there's it, I will say there's a place for it. Like that go go go, you can do it. Like
Great.
you need that in the beginning when you don't have confidence in yourself yet because you haven't had a first client, okay? But you don't need that to push yourself through the feeling of burnout. Like if you're noticing burnout, you do not need to hustle through it. In fact, you need to do the opposite. You need to slow your roll. So I think that that's a major disconnect in like entrepreneurial messaging, that like I know a lot of people who feel like, ugh, like I don't want to listen to all of these talking heads because they feel like they're pushing and shoving me. Look, you need that when you're just starting out. You don't need that when you are burning out.
So, Veronica, in your opinion, why do so many entrepreneurs feel the need to grind themselves into the ground? What do they fear would happen if they stop?
We're really mean to people we perceive as lazy. If you have any, like, think about the rhetoric around people who have found themselves in homelessness. Homelessness is not just, oh, you screwed up your life. It's far from it. Yet, that's the rhetoric around it. You screwed up, you're lazy, you don't deserve anything.
It's an educational thing, and it's a perception thing. Like you said, like laziness is really considered to be like the lows of all lows, and if we're not hustling, we're lazy.
Yeah, if I'm lazy, then
It's a
people are
cultural
going,
thing. You're an anthropologist. It's
yeah,
cultural.
yes, it is. Right. Right.
Are
Like
you- are
they're
you-
lazy. They are just trying to live on welfare, so they're lazy. It's just lazy, lazy.
Right.
We use that word
Yeah.
like awfully. There's a really good book on this that I'll share with you to put in the show
Please.
notes as well. And so that's a lot of what the hustle is about. Is I need to look shiny. I need to look very busy and important. I want to be like hustling down the hallways in the 3-piece suit and having the meetings, and I want to be able to name drop and blah 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 blah.
And the underlying fear behind all this is
The underlying fear is being thought of as lazy.
Ooh,
Yeah. So we use laziness against people who actually are not lazy but need a lot of support. And to be perceived as lazy is like the worst thing in our society. It's one of the worst things.
Could it be because of the fact that when our parents called us lazy when we didn't want to do the homework, like we felt bad as shit, like we felt like
Did you?
low of lows? Yeah. Like I was told I'm lazy so many times. I mean, growing up, I was just told I'm lazy. Later, I found out I have ADHD.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say it was
it's just
ADHD.
that. And I
Right.
wasn't lazy. I'm one of the most, unlazy people that I know. And
Right.
people often give me as an example of someone who's like on, so, so into whatever he's doing. And I'm always, enjoying actually just going, but I was called a lazy bum my whole
Mm-hmm.
childhood.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yep.
remember that it still hurts actually.
Yeah. Yeah, because what they're really saying when they call you lazy is that you don't care. When
Right.
you cared a lot. You cared a lot. It wasn't that you didn't want to be engaged. It was the
Hmm.
system wasn't working for you and you didn't have a word for it. And so you're called lazy as a write-off. It's a write-off. It's an awful, it's really not a good word to have in our lexicon at all. And it's used very, very often against workers as well, who might want a better environment for work, but then they're called lazy because they can't just suck it up.
Hmm.
It's a
Or then they're
write-off.
just
It's a
not
terrible
in
word.
the right. A lot of times they're just not in the right place. So they don't have the right roles, but we don't recognize that. We just write them off or we get right off. So
Right.
why don't founders seek help earlier?
Oh my God, I don't know. No, I do know. I like, I'm
Next
here. Like,
question.
let me help you. Oh my God, so much pride. So much pride. And you don't know, like you said, like what are the symptoms? Because like you don't know that this is not going to get better. You don't realize that you're already on the runway and burnout is at the end of it. And so you just think you need to learn more. You need to figure it out, take more courses, read more books, which is more work, by the way. So if you're already burning out, you've decided to give yourself more work and put more on your nervous system. And so, yeah, the reason that like coaching for CEOs works is because it gives, first of all, it restores hope. Just like burnout is hugely related to a lack of hope. It restores hope because now somebody else's brain is on the job too. And it relieves some of the stress because, okay, I've pulled in help, but it doesn't necessarily take more work. It takes somebody helping me to reframe. So, right, creating a personal paradigm shift, reframe what I'm doing, and who's already done it so they know the systems that I need. So I don't have to read all the books and then summarize them and figure out what will work for me and what doesn't. That's what the coach is doing. They will just give it
Mm.
to you and then you can start to implement and they will be with you along the way. But yeah, there's so much pride in there that it's very, very hard to say, I really need help.
For sure. Let's say I'm that guy. And to be honest, I'm that guy. So please have compassion for me and
Always.
help me make the first step, even though I mean, I feel this pride or whatever, something is stopping me to just say, hey, I need help, or I need to get this checked out, or get attended to, or just talk
Mm-hmm.
to someone. So, what's the first thing? What's the first step I can do that will not hurt my pride, but,
Yeah.
just help me move forward with whatever it is that's holding me back?
Awesome. I mean, first of all, excited to work on this with you. So you're gonna hear from me. Let's do this because I'm coming in with fresh energy. You're tired. I have fresh energy. I'm gonna get nerdy
Hmm,
with you. Let's do an
hmm,
inventory. Let's just take a
hmm.
look at what you're doing. We're not going to do any work yet. We're just taking inventory. What are you doing every day, every week? What's happening? And what are you using in order to do the work? Because I will betcha, and as somebody who has helped scale podcasts too, I will betcha you're doing work that technology could do for you for cheap or for
Oh,
free.
for sure. Out of technophobia.
Understandable. I
Let's
mean,
talk
like,
about that later.
understandable, right? So I'm going to
Different
validate you.
conversation.
Understandable.
Yeah.
So then let's see if we can make some choices that are ethically aligned with your values as an entrepreneur. Like every entrepreneur has their own set of values they're living by, right? So let's see what we can automate while making technical choices that align with your values
All right. So
and will feel
we
good
are
to you.
heading straight into the like the main solution, and I have a specific question about that.
Okay.
But before we go there, let's go back a little bit and talk about maybe some recovery tips or reset routines. Like, what can I immediately do when I feel one of those systems come up?
Yeah.
tomorrow morning before even meeting you and going through the whole 5-step process that we're going to talk about later?
Yep. The first thing you need to do is start taking care of yourself in a different way. So remember that it's psychological and physiological. Burnout is psychological and physiological. So we can take care of the psychological bit by hiring a coach. So working together, now you have more hope and you have somebody to help take some of the stress from you, right? You don't have to figure it all out now. I will help you, right? But the physiological has to happen too. So maybe it's time boundaries. Maybe it's batching your work in a different way. We will figure that out. Maybe it's making space for something like going to the spa, taking a bath at home, asking your spouse to take the kids for an hour a week, whatever. Like, you have to start making time and space for your body to come down to zero. My favorite kind of technique I've been using lately for myself, especially on Mondays, my Mondays are stacked because that's when all the meetings happen. That's my freelance meeting. That's my startup meeting. And that's also, I run a magazine. That's when my magazine's meetings are happening. And it's like boom, 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 back to back. Usually I have like about 10 minutes between them. And so a lot of people will call this like touching grass, but I can't touch grass because I live on the third European floor, fourth floor for Americans. There's a tree right outside my window. So I go and sit with my legs out the window in the summer, and just watch the tree and have a moment of this Japanese word ma. It's just M-A, ma. And what that means is nothing's happening. I let the tree happen. I'm not happening. I watch the tree happen. I watch the cars happen. I watch the people happen, the birds happen. I'm not happening. Everything else around me, I'm just for 5 minutes before I run into the next meeting. So you can do this. You can start to let your nervous system come down even in micro moments throughout your day.
So that resets the nervous system. Is that what it does?
Yep, it does. It allows your body to come down. Another one that folks like to use is shaking. We've observed in animals that, in prey animals specifically, if they are attacked and they escape, right? Now you have all this adrenaline. You're like, woo, right? Like the fear, the adrenaline, but now the danger's gone. How do you get down from that? You don't just go about your day. They shake. You'll see them shudder because their nervous system is
like
getting
the duck with the wings after
the wings. We see gazelle do it. And so we notice that dancing is similar to that because it has dancing without trying, right? So like, don't try to look cute, just dance. It's that kind of like free for all body movement is also a really good way to get your nervous system to come down. I would also be saying, start using Pomodoro, which is that timer where you work 25 on, 5 minutes off. And it goes off. So it will shock you out of, I've had it scare me before because I also have ADHD. And so I'll be in a focus state and then the bell goes off and I go, oh my God, get up, move around, get your brain out of that. Because as you well know, when you're in a focus state, you can work for hours and you don't move, you don't eat, you don't pee. And all of a sudden you're in a bad physiological state. So I would be examining your workday with you to start to understand, like, where can we build these things in?
I want you to help me define a bad physiological state and explain the term bringing it down to zero.
I mean, okay, so these are a little bit of my own terminologies, but a bad physiological state is probably most relatably recognized if you're really, really angry at your computer for no reason. Like everything's pissing you off. The keyboard, like your keyboard's your punching bag. You're probably not okay anymore, and you haven't recognized it yet because you're not. We get like tunnel vision, right, into our work.
Right.
Like we forget our bodies exist, which is again why how many times have you forgotten to pee? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
And so
you get up and you just can't get up from the chair because your body's like stuck in this,
you're like all cramped. You're like physically shaped like a chair now, right?
80 years
Get an
old.
up down desk. Oh my God. So that's what I mean by bad physiological state is like you're wound up so tight that you don't recognize that you are more than a head anymore, and it's coming out probably in anger. Anger is a protective emotion. So it makes you stand up for yourself. That's what anger does. That's why we get angry. And then you need to take appropriate action. Appropriate action for entrepreneurs is get up, move around, calm down,
Right.
breathe, eat, drink some water, right? Yeah.
You're
And then bring
realizing
it down
that
to
if you
zero
don't do
is,
that, realizing that
yeah.
if you don't do that, you're going to
You're
get
going to
burned
go to
out.
bed with that, and then you're going to dream like that. You're going to sleep like that, and then you're going to wake up and start compounding it. So that's what I mean by come down to zero. What's your most feeling of calm, right? So that's like the neutral nervous system state. That's where you should be going to bed. Like do a brain dump before bed. I have all these techniques, but get it all out so that you can go to bed at neutral, ideally. And then you're waking up at neutral so that instead of waking up at, like let's say like 100 is burnout. So like you get to 10 today, you go to bed at 10, you wake up tomorrow, and then you put another 20 on that. And then all of a sudden it's cranking up day after day, and you're only, sleep is only taking you down by 2.
What's your favorite technique of all the techniques that you use? Your personal favorite.
Well, so we haven't actually talked about systemizing the business yet, and that's what I really, really like. Somebody with ADHD and also PMDD, for those that haven't heard of this, it's premenstrual dysphoric disorder. So like a receptor in my brain doesn't work properly. So when my hormones switch, I lose all my serotonin. And for anyone who has played with fun chemicals, you probably know that having no more serotonin is a really bad feeling. So,
Right.
So that also means that there's a few days a week that I can't work. I actually physically, emotionally cannot work. So systems rescue your humanity from the company. And that, I would say, that's my absolute like must do. Every single company I touch, we're going to systemize it. You have to.
Oh, hey, if you've been watching so far, that tells me you're getting value from this video. So please write a comment, ask a question, and I'd love to support you further. So you talk about core values of freedom and peace. What does each one mean in your approach, and how does a founder get to freedom and peace?
Yeah. So freedom to me is just freedom of choice on all levels. That's why I talk a lot about being a dual citizen, speaking multiple languages, having a business that isn't anchored to a certain time zone. I knew, over a decade before I ever moved abroad, that I wanted a company that would allow me to do that, and I engineered my company. So when COVID came, I was ready. Not because I had moved anywhere, but because I'd been taking Zoom meetings with people all across the country and around the world for 2 to 3 years at that point. This was no surprise. Everyone was like, "Oh, have you used Zoom before?" Yeah, been using it. Where have you been? Right? So to me, I want to be able to have freedom of choice, even if I don't intend to ever leave the country, for example. Like whatever I want you always to be able to choose your time, your energy. If you need a sick day, you're not gonna, you don't know that on March 23rd, 2026, you're gonna be sick, right? Like you don't know when you're gonna be sick. That's the point. So that freedom in all respects is really critical. I want you to be able to say no to clients if you don't want certain clients, right? Like I want that for you. And the systems help with that too, because if you do have an employee give their notice, your system should be able to mean that you can start hiring right away and find someone within their notice period without panic, right? So that's how the systems play with freedom.
Amazing. Let's start building those systems. Step 1. So you have this 5-step process to cure founders' burnout.
We've done a bit of it already. So first of all, you need to take an inventory, right?
Explain
We talked about the inventory.
what does that mean? Inventory everything.
We talked about this already. What are you doing with your day? What programs, what software, where's your time go? Who are you talking to? What are you touching? Everything, right? We can't do anything in your company without an inventory. Then we automate. So we already touched on that too. We've got to get you immediately as far out of the company as you can, but we don't have time and energy yet to do systems. So we're going to automate. We're going to use technology to get you out of the company and free up some of your time, right? Freedom.
All right. So
Okay.
step one, inventory. You also said zooming out to revisit the big picture of your business, like,
Whole thing.
right? Just going out so you can be, you're able to just understand what's happening and not be like in the trenches all the time. Like you said, looking like this. Step two, automating so you can get out of the business way.
Yeah, at least to start. The automation won't do everything for you. It's just technology.
Sure.
But it
What's
gets
step
it
three?
gets you some of your time back. Like Calendly is not a system. It is just a SaaS offering. And it automates your calendar a little bit.
More examples of that?
Of systems that automate.
Yeah.
Scheduling your social media, putting this, okay, so the great idea is to take what Riverside gives you, and I believe Riverside has its own AI now, but even like Substack has its own AI. All these things have their own AIs right now. It'll clip things for you. Boom, you can put them out. Do you remember, so my first podcast, I started my first podcast in, I think, 2013. I had to do all that clipping myself. Or I had to outsource it.
Right.
So to automate now is a dream. It's freaking wonderful. So when I started teaching this, automation looked very different. Like Calendly had just started. I feel old. So
you got the Calendly, you got the for creators, you got the Riversides that can clip stuff, and you can pull out the transcripts and create posts. And you can schedule them automatically.
Your email should be smart. It should be telling you that you haven't talked to a certain client in a certain while. You got to follow up with them. It should have the template. Now that's getting to system, the templates is. But the automation is you set the timer and then it knows, okay, this pipeline, if you haven't talked to them in this many months, boom, we got to follow up with them. Then you pop out that email and you go for it. There's systems for noticing open, closed emails as well. Absolutely. These days it's just so easy to automate. It's
one of the challenges is just recognizing that I don't need to do this, that I can automate this. Right?
And there's a guilt there.
Saying, yeah.
There's a guilt I run into with a lot of people. It's tied to pride, the sense that I need to be in that. I need to be to be doing all of the scheduling manually because it means I care. No, it doesn't mean you care. It means you're wasting my time.
Personal touch. I don't want to lose the personal touch.
You can personalize, but you can personalize the way your Calendly looks, right? Like you can personalize the sequencing within there. But there's this sense of pride that comes in, and what ends up happening is actually you're wasting a whole lot of your time and other people's time.
Got you. What is step number 3 to 5?
Systems is 3, documents is 4, hiring is 5.
Can you elaborate on systems?
Yeah, so systems are the full thing. So like we were talking about email. Your email can be automated as far as client outreach goes, but there are other things that need to happen around that outreach, those reminders. So for example, a full system would be an automatic email that sends on your client's birthday every single year, that goes to a link that you have in Calendly that leads them to a special, free 30 minutes with you. And then that brings them in. You know what you want to talk about on that call because you want to bring them back into your active client list instead of passive client list. And then you have the system for onboarding them again, which is slightly different from new client onboarding. And everything else then from there is automated again. So you have automation in the system, but the system, the full thing, is designed to bring them from A to B, right? But systems can also be again, like we were talking about content marketing. So what you've got to have your style guide and documentation fully documented and written out. So it's documentation. But then also, what are the systems that you use in order to churn out good content super fast every single time. So what program are you using? What editors are you using? If you're not using Grammarly, who are you and what you're doing? Then does it go out onto Substack or something else? I use Substack a lot these days, so we'll just say Substack. It's part of the system. And then from Substack, that automatically generates these previews, and it can do AI voiceover. It can do all these different things. Okay, so that's automated. I'm going to grab those and then I'm going to blast them into, let's say, Buffer, for example, to automate the posting about that. And maybe I might use a little ChatGPT in there as well, because again, we can automate so much these days. I can say, here's what the piece was about. Give me clips so I can repeat it on social media several times. And we're going to repeat it on social media 3 to 6 times, because then that brings us to the next article that's going to land, and we don't want to distract from the next article. So then that's the full system using multiple different SaaS options and automation options. That needs to be fully documented. So that's why we create the systems. So that's a lot of investigative and engineering work. Mm-hmm. Once the system is created and tested, you can document it so that you can give it to either existing teammates, or it helps you to hire.
Let's say I'm not as tech savvy as you, and all those names makes my skin, it makes me I feel some rash on my skin hearing you saying all these names. What can you suggest for me if that scares me a little bit? Using all these apps.
You can still use analog systems. Businesses have been around for hundreds of years without tech. So if you want to go totally old school, I had a client, the case study is on my Substack actually right now, but I had a client who actually for career reasons, he couldn't launch his company big and loud, not on social media, because he was still working for another organization. So his idea was, I'm going to start this business I'm starting while I'm still employed, because you don't want to necessarily take the full bet or have the drop off in income, etc. And so we had to engineer the way we were going to launch the company in a different way. And so if you don't want to use technology in order to launch your company, if it's a local business, or even if it's not a local business, where are the flyers in the community? What newspapers, what coffee shops can you put up invitations to? If there are certain partners that you really want involved in your company, make a really fancy invitation, host an in-person event. Right? So you don't have to use technology at all to have good systems, but you need to be prepared if that potential partner gets that fancy invitation. So that's the beginning of your funnel, basically, the beginning of the system. And then they attend the event. Then what happens? So you got to have the follow through the rest of the system. Then we sign a partnership contract together, and then we onboard the first client. They get 10%, and we get whatever the heck. So you don't have to have tech involved to have good systems, and you can document on paper. I would be frightened, but
let's say I run a small team, and have these meetings and stuff like that. What kind of system do I need to build in order to streamline my leadership?
So it's a small in-person team. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
It could be in person, and it could be like,
digital.
Everybody's working. Yeah. Everyone's working at their own home office, whatever.
Yeah, that's what I had at my studio. I had 4 employees, but we were all pretty much remote. We had some very few in-person meetings. But first of all, why are you meeting? Really get clear. Why are you spending each other's time? Literally spending. So remember that word, spending time. In business, time is money. So you are going to pay them to meet with you. And are you paying yourself for the meeting? Right. And then, so what's the objective of the meeting? What happens in that meeting that can't happen without it? And now, again, I'm an anthropologist. I'm all about culture. Synchronous meetings really do matter, but you have to use the time wisely. How many meetings have you been in when you're like, oh my God, what are we doing here? What am I sitting through, and why? It's such a waste of time, right? So even if you...
I do those, and I think, Is that what people are thinking? Like my team is thinking right now, what am I doing here?
I've had
When
my
does
team
this
tell me many
end?
times, like, slow down. Because I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to waste your time. Let's do this. But also, you have to think about, like, okay, what is happening in this meeting that is building the company internally as well. So, like, a lot of
Mm,
times you need the meeting because you got a client you need to sync on. But what's happening interpersonally inside the company during that meeting? So we always, at my startup, we always have an icebreaker, something ridiculous. I always think of it last minute, like 3 seconds before I say it,
okay.
literally 3 seconds before. So it's always something ridiculously off the wall, which means we have a really nice conversation at the
Mm,
beginning of the meeting, and there's
right.
bonding happening. So culture is
Right.
building, right?
Right.
That's part of the system. Part of
Yeah.
the system is the agenda, the icebreaker. What are the key
Right.
takeaways? How do the tasks get captured after the meeting? How are you triggering things within the meeting? Are you tasking them to read the agenda before they come, or is there any like pre-reads before the
Mm-hmm.
meeting?
Mm-hmm.
That's the full system.
And the meeting is so meetings are systems as well. A meeting is a system. So what do you replace it with when you don't do them?
I don't recommend not having any meetings ever.
But let's say like when you reduce them to the
But if you reduce
very
them,
necessary.
right? Yeah. My God. But so what were all those meetings about? What was the purpose? What did you think they were about? And then you bring them into the one. And you can start to automate a bit of that. You can also pre-task folks. So the meeting isn't the system. The system is the whole thing that happens before and after, and the meeting
Mm-hmm.
is just one piece of the system. So then
Right. Right.
are they pre-tasked to put their existing work into the agenda so it's all ready to go for discussion, right? So like how are they participating in the system so that instead of having this meeting about that and this meeting about that and that meeting, instead you are collaboratively developing one single meeting that is the source of truth for the week. And then again, how are you capturing what happens during that meeting so that it can, again, be a source of truth for the rest of the week, for the tasks
Yeah.
and discussions and ideas?
Yeah. And thank God for transcripts right now. It's so
I
helpful.
know.
Oh
Oh
my
my
God.
God.
It's great. So have we talked about the fifth step?
Hiring.
Hiring. Can you say something
Yeah.
about that?
Yeah. Why are you working in your business?
Mm.
So there's, again, this
I'm going to tell you. I'm going to
mythology.
tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. Because
Okay.
I'm not yet in a position to hire more people. When
Why
the
not?
business will do better and have more revenue and more profits, then I will hire all those people to replace me and do what I'm doing right now. Have you heard that before?
Yes. So it's your income is going to go down when you hire. That's just the truth. It's going to go boop, and then it's going to go way up. There's a little bit of a choice. You can engineer the way that if you have client facing work, you can engineer the way that the billing works so that your personal income doesn't go down. But that's a whole nother conversation. Just to say what you've got going right now, you want to start outsourcing it. You're going to have to take a little bit of a hit, and then you're going to actually start making more money because your billable hours just doubled, tripled, or quadrupled.
You
You
know
now
that.
have
But the problem is
way
I don't know
more.
that. I have this uncertainty. I'm sorry if I'm making it hard on you, Veronica. I
It's
want the
okay. You're
answer.
asking all the questions everybody wants
I
to
want the
ask.
answer, man. So, yeah, you know that. I don't know that. I have uncertainty that, oh my God, if my income drops now, how will I ever? I mean, I don't know if it's going to go up or not. But if I will do a mistake now, this mistake can maybe ruin my business, or maybe it can cost me even my business, and I won't be able to. I make another mistake, lose more money. I won't be able to ever achieve what I want, what I said to achieve.
Yeah, that sounds like a
Those
lot of
are the
anxiety.
sentiments.
Yeah.
I used
So
to have them.
that's,
I used to have them. I mean,
yeah, it's okay to have them. And
I have a team right
that's the
now, but I used
anxiety.
to have them for so long.
And that's the existential crisis that business can throw you into because money is tied to our ability to just live. That's the world we live in right now. We all have opinions about it. But so when you get scared about money, you're scared about, am I going to eat? Am I going to have a house over my head? You're not scared about money. It's a piece of paper. You're scared about safety and security. So of course it triggers all of these different fears and then amps up your nervous system. And then all of a sudden what's happening? You're starting to head towards burnout. It's so fun. Love this cycle. Hiring is just another system. So you systemize your hiring before you hire, and you've systemized everything else before you hire. So it's easy to hand off, and you know you can hire the right person the first time. The key is, and this is what I work on with clients, is that you are very aware of how you are going to start paying that person so that the company isn't like just like taking the hit and then it's, you know, you don't have to hire a full-time person. You don't have to hire for all the things you do. But the idea is that if we've gotten all of these other things right, then it is easier to hire and it is the last thing you need to do in order to fully eradicate your business plate. So you don't have to do it. But if you do it, it will actually take the rest away from you.
I got you.
Total
And,
freedom.
eventually it's something you need to do. And there's also the dilemma or the debate about should you hire an A player or should you hire someone starting out and, and train them? But that's another discussion. Let's
Yeah.
not go there.
And it's company specific, right?
Yeah.
Like it depends on what your company is doing at the same time, and how much energy you have to train somebody. Like if you need to train somebody, that takes time and energy. If you have a client right now, you need an A person. You don't have time to train.
Right.
But training should be easier because you systemized.
Got you. How do you know you've got burnout proof? How do you know you got to that level? You went through all those steps and now you want the credential, you want the diploma from Veronica.
Certificate.
You are burnout proof.
Oh my God.
How did I know that?
Everything has to be systemized or automated.
Everything.
100%. Yep.
Got you.
If you invent something new in your company, which you probably will, there's a new tech you want to try, there's a new avenue you want to go down, etc. Cool. You need to test it and then systemize it. It needs to be part of the existing structure of the company. There's a whole different thing that I work on with clients called skyscraper theory. It's about the different floors in your company and how everything's connected by an escalator, elevator, hot air balloon. Like you can get up through a building. Nothing is disconnected. Nothing is disconnected. And so you get to burnout proof when everything's systemized, everything's automated. You can take time off and nothing crashes and burns at will. So if you feel like I can't take time off right now at will, like honest to God truth, yesterday I took the day. I did zero work. Not zero. I did a little bit of work because there was I did a photo shoot for a friend. I used to be a photographer. And so I did a photo shoot as a gift for my friend, for her maternity photos. That was fun to edit. But otherwise I did no work. I watched a whole lot of Shrinking, which is a great show, because I was cooked mentally. I had no serotonin, so I couldn't work. Okay. Nothing happened. The company didn't burn down. Nobody's in trouble. There's no problem with it. That's the burnout proof.
Got you. Veronica, where can people find out more about your work and reach out to you?
I would love for them to just go to veronicakirin.com. You can get on my newsletter. It's in the top of the menu. And if you want the Shift Your Personal Paradigm guide, it's in my newsletter. So you just click through there, sign up for the newsletter, get the guide, easy peasy. The free scaling course, so the 5 steps we just talked about, is in the Academy. And if you become a paid subscriber on my Substack, you get the full Academy for free. So all the tools are for you on my website. If you want to talk about custom work, I don't take a lot of it anymore because startup life. But if you want to talk it, my calendar is on my contact page. So I make it easy. I guess I make it easy to also stalk me, but
And you also have to come committed, I guess, to really want to change and not just,
Yeah.
come dabbling, do I need to do this? Do I not? Like when you come to Veronica, know that you need to do what you need to do,
Yep.
and you need to fight off some demons, but eventually it'll all work out and you can take a vacation at will, which is amazing.
Yep. We will find the
Um,
demons, just like I told you
yeah,
during our initial call.
yeah.
I have made clients cry because I find the gremlins and we can't get rid of them unless we shine the light on them. And it hurts. It's scary. It's scary. I'm not going to say it hurts. It's scary. So
It's
there's
not
tears.
mandatory, but like crying is not mandatory, right?
Crying's not mandatory, but it sometimes
Obligatory.
happens because we find
Yeah.
we find the part that hurts, which is part of burnout, and we release it.
If there's one thing you can go back and advise yourself before getting into entrepreneurship, what would it be? One thing.
Be more humble.
Hmm.
There's there's
Why?
um there's a lot of posturing, like we've talked about. There's a lot of
Hmm.
posturing in business.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
we have to know it all. We have to be able to do it all. We have to be hustling all the time. We have to look good, got the power suit on, got the power bob, whatever. My hair is long right now, so it's not quite a power bob. But you feel like I've got to have it all together. I've got to look like I've got it all together. That is making it worse. So just be a mess. It's okay to be a mess. It's okay to be vulnerable. You will find more and better help faster that way.
Incredible answer. And again, thank you so much for that because I need to hear it. And I know many, many entrepreneurs need to hear that. Thank you
All
so
right.
much. I just love
Thank
that.
you.
Have a great
Thanks.
day. Hey, you got to the end of this video. Congratulations. This is so great. We got so much more for you. You can click right here or right here and continue your growth. And I wish you to reach the tipping point of your success. See you in the next video.